Hey everyone, Doug with Theme Park DNA here. Today I have another Saberforge review video for you. Today is the Saberforge Antagonist Eco. So I got this in a scratch and dent box and I was really excited to get it. It seemed to be a working saber. The sound worked. It's got a recharge port that works. It's got a purple lit AV switch, but it didn't have an LED in it, but it had everything else. And it had a little, what looked to be like a plug and play connector, or what I thought to be, but it's awfully small. Let me give you a close-up of it. Maybe you can see it better. If I get too close to the camera, it doesn't like to focus too well. So let's see how this does. So I had this small white connector. I thought it to be a plug and play connector, and it's either an old plug and play connector they no longer use, because this is the current plug and play connector. So if you look at the difference in that, and there's no way that this is going to plug into that. So either it's an older version or it's a connector they use just for the Ecos. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I've not taken apart any Ecos before. So if you know, let me know in the comments below. So with not being able to use a plug and play LED in there, I wanted to wire an LED in it. Unfortunately, this connector was just here on the inside. It was very difficult to get to. I tried to pull a little slack out in the wire, and I was able to do so without unplugging anything important. And I cut it, and I had to have extra hands. My oldest daughter had to help me with tweezers holding it while I tried to pre-tin the wire and connect it, and it was a little frustrating, but I got it to work. And so I had an LED that came in a scratch and dent, and I don't know if it's the same one or not, but it had IN in it, and I was really hoping it was indigo, because I believe that's an older purple color that Saberforge used to have that they no longer carry. And I was pleasantly surprised when I wired it together and it worked, and it indeed was a purple color. But it does seem a little more purple than the traditional Saberforge purple that they sell now. And so I will probably do a comparison with this indigo versus the purple that I put in my Talon, and I've previously reviewed. I will try to link that in the description. So the Antagonist, all in all, I really like this saber. I think, I like black sabers, and I like black and silver sabers. All silver seems a little boring to me. In this case, though, if you go check out what the standard finish on the Antagonist looks like, I think the standard probably looks a little more interesting. We've got silver and black. This part here in the choke areas are anodized. The inside of these little rings are anodized. It's got a little kind of breaks it up. The all black is a little monotone. I mean literally, yes, it's one color, but I think that another color on this could really add some depth. However, I still really like this saber. Now, looking at the pommel, and I think I mentioned this in the unboxing, it is not quite black. Everything else is very black. And then I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but this pommel is ever so slightly a different color. I don't know that it was powder coated or whether it's just a change in the black anodizing that they use normally. Maybe it was made with a different batch. That's probably the most likely, is that this saber, they shipped it out and just threw a pommel from another generation, another batch of anodizing. So that's probably most likely why it doesn't quite match. So starting on the pommel, we kind of have a recurring theme with the pommel and emitter. It's a little bit of a several pointed, you might could call it a crown design, but I do like it. It does look kind of aggressive, more aggressive. It doesn't come to a point, but it does kind of look like the strike bezel on a tactical flashlight. So I like that. Moving up to this grip section, there are a series of rectangles in a ring, and they're broken up by lines, and the grip is really aggressive on here, but not so much that it gets uncomfortable. Certainly if you are using this for hours without any gloves, then yeah, your hands might get a little raw, but I really don't think it really gets into the realm of uncomfortable under regular use. But it gives some outstanding grip, and maybe some of the better grip I've seen on Saberforge hilts. So moving up to the switch, it's pretty simple. We have a little bit of a choke, and we have a standard AV switch along with the recharge port, which is pretty standard for the Eco Sabers. And you see these screws right here. So when I had the LED out, you could see the board. So the board is actually screwed directly onto the saber on the inside via these two screws, and you can see how long it is right there, and it's only it's less than a half an inch wide. It's a very simple board. However, you can still see the progression in the Eco Sabers through some of the sabers that I've gotten recently. So in the same scratch and dent box, I got a Progenitor, which I previously reviewed. I will link that in the description. And the accelerometer and the soundboard settings were more basic than this one. And you can see the progression between the older Progenitor that I have with this Antagonist, which seems almost current, and then the Eco the newest Eco that I have is my Fallen Order. The newest Eco I have is my Fallen Order Eco, and it comes with a core. It doesn't just have a board screwed in. It does have a core made by a third party, I think, and the accelerometer is much more advanced. However, I will say that the LED is dim and the sound is a little low, but you know, all things being said, I think it's a pretty good value. So moving up from the switch, we come back out to the diameter of the grip, and then back into another choke. Choke is not very deep. It's about the same depth as the switch section, but this is pretty much where I want to hold this lightsaber. While it's not the deepest of chokes, it serves its purpose just fine. This is not a very heavy lightsaber, and so it handles quite nicely, grasping from here, and it still leaves my pinky within reach of the switch, which makes it nice. Moving up to the emitter, we have a single blade retention screw, and we continue this theme from the bottom where this is a multi-point. This comes to 4 segments in this crown design, and it's just enough to make it interesting. This isn't a terribly expensive looking saber, but it's just enough to make it interesting. I do like it. The edges here do come to a little bit of a point here on the edge, but there's really no reason for you to be turning it around in your hand, which is the only way I could foresee it getting you, is if you're grasping this really tight and it it gets rotated against your grip. Other than that, it's a nice little saber. I gotta say I really like it, and I'm really pleased about that indigo LED. All right, let's take a look at some numbers. This saber is almost exactly 10.5 inches. So we've got a very nice length. It is short enough for one-handed, and it's just big enough for two hands without being too crowded. This is a nearly ideal length, at least for me. So pretty much there's only two widths on this. Just a hair over 1.5 inches, and in the choke areas it is just under 1.5 inches. So very, very thin, comfortable, compact saber. It's very lightweight. All right, let's take a look at the weight. With a 24-inch blade, it's 15.5 ounces, which is 440 grams. Without a blade, looks like 10.5 ounces, 10.5 ounces, which is 298 grams. So this is long enough for a longer blade. I have a 24-inch blade on it though, and it handles very, very nicely. It's very fast. It balances really, really well. It balances somewhere right here at the end of the emitter. Just looks like the balance point is just at the blade retention screw. So electronics, I was talking earlier about that progression of technology, and I couldn't see because of the wire mesh on that Progenitor, but I do see that the speaker on this saber is a cardboard speaker, and I think the modern ones have, well, they come in a core, and the speaker's a little smaller, but I think it does have a metal component to the speaker. I noticed you have to hold the button down to wake it up a long time. Now, one thing I will say about this saber, it is quite loud. So talking about the progression of technology in the Eco sabers, comparing this Eco Antagonist with the Progenitor that I got in the same scratch and dent box, it doesn't have flash on clash. The movement noises, the slash noises are very slow on that older Progenitor. It doesn't have flash on clash. It only has lock up if you double tap the button. But this one, however, does have flash on clash. The accelerometer is more advanced, and you get more of a positive, a quicker response on the sound noises. So you've got a blaster block. It does flash. We do have flash on clash. There's a lockup. So, while it definitely has a more advanced electronics than that Progenitor that I got, it still lacks smooth swing, and it does lack a few other things. The accelerometer, being more advanced, still isn't quite as good as well, the Golden Harvest V3, of course. It does have some lag. And sometimes it just misses one, especially if you have movements that are a little too often. It will miss a beat every once in a while. All in all, though, really happy about it in the scratch and dent box, especially considering that it came with the LED for me to put in it, and I've got that indigo. So I'm going to be doing, I think, a comparison video with the Saberforge purple and the indigo, just because it does look like it's more of a blue purple. So now it's your turn to tell me what you think about the Saberforge Antagonist. You like it? You don't like it? Let me know in the comments below. This is one of our giveaway videos. Right now we're giving away 3 Christmas ornaments, 9 blade plugs, a faux control box kill key, and 2 lightsabers. So all you have to do to win any of this stuff is to be a public subscriber and like and comment on any and or all of the giveaway videos for a chance to win any of it. So that's going to do it for today. If you like this content, let us know with a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching.